Worst offense and best defense in the middle of the pack? I don't know. But I'll tell you this. Based upon Bill Connelly's from ESPN's returning production for the 2024 season, the SEC's got some interesting storylines that we're going to dive into. There's a few narratives, I'm going to tell you. Some of these teams y'all think going to be good, I don't know. And some of these teams I think going to be bad, I'm like, I don't know. It all has a perspective to it, and I want to dive into what's going on. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up to the channel. Y'all know what it is. We're going to dive deep into the 2024 SP Plus ratings for the 2024 returning participants on offense and defensive production, that is. And I think the narrative that Oklahoma should have like 7 wins is kind of bad. And honestly, I think Florida might be a little bit better than people expect. But the question is, can Billy Napier do what he's supposed to do? But we'll dive into that. If you like this content, please hit the like button. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. Love for you to join this family of college football fans. Talking a lot of ball here, OU football and college football in general, and having a blast doing it. If you're looking for all the recruiting news, check out Sooner or Later Sports. That channel's over there. Hit the like and subscribe as well. And share. Why? Because sharing is caring. So, let's dive into this. So, earlier this week, we did a video and we talked about how Oklahoma's win total had come out and it was a little questionable, right? But we understood it was 7.5, mainly because OU has the second toughest schedule based upon 247, right? Florida is number 1, Arkansas is right there at 3, South Carolina 4, so the SEC has 6 of the 10 in there with Mississippi State as well as Vanderbilt on the list. And so they got some tough games. But I guess the tough games is all within, a perspective, right? You got to have a context about what makes sense and what constitutes something being considered tough. And so when I saw the total for Oklahoma, I was like, felt a little disrespectful-ish because it doesn't feel like Oklahoma should be dropped that low. But I got why. And this is the reason why. Let's look at the returning production for just the SEC. So I was working on a graphic and actually working on the plane, and it didn't come out the way I liked it to. But that SEC podcast, shout out to them. They built it. Chris Marler, he built this, and now he's no longer at Saturday Down South, but that's another story for another day. But Bill Connelly put this out. And let's look at the offensive side, and this is why I understand why Oklahoma was sitting at 7.5 this year. So when you look at the production, you have Oklahoma sitting here at the number 16 team in the SEC with only 44% of the offensive production returning. Now, let's say this, 7.5, and then you've got 16th in offensive production. That makes sense. It's a logical thought because if you ain't bringing back much production on offense, you're starting from scratch. Yeah, you can lose a lot of you got a lot of work to do. Oklahoma lost all 5 offensive linemen on the starting lineup. Now they got players that had some game, but they lost their 5 starters. The entire 5. 4 of them are in the draft, and 1 of them transferred out, went back home to Missouri. Then you lose Dylan Gabriel, starting quarterback, right? That's it. So majority of your production's tied into your starting quarterback. Well, Austin Stogner, the tight end's gone as well. And then your offensive line. In which, granted, I know Sooner fans are asking the question of, what does this offensive line look like? What are we going to be? Are we going to be any good? We're going to suck on offense, line. We're going to be terrible, blah, blah, blah. That's not true. Bill Beatonbow knows what he's doing. Last year, we had questions about the line. Heck, last year, we also had questions about the wide receiver room, and it became the best room on there. I think the offensive line is going to really surprise you on how good they're going to be because they did have some players there, and they brought in some that can help. But what I'm hearing is the line looks good. Let's just leave it at that. And so this makes sense in the 16 mark. Missouri at number 1 is fascinating to me. They brought back the most production, but the question is, will they be able to produce what they did last year? Will they be able to bring a 10-win season in? Which leads me to why Oklahoma's 7-win total. I think there's an over there. You should take the money, play the over. I'm playing the over. The minute I get to Vegas in March, I'm taking the over because of this reason here. The defensive production. There's a chance Oklahoma could have the best defense in the SEC. Yeah, I know. Second toughest schedule. But Jay, how they going to have the best defense in the SEC? They're number 8 in the country in production returning. And they're bringing back a lot of veterans. And we talked about this on numerous occasions. Oklahoma played over 4,000 snaps of players that were freshmen, redshirt freshmen, or sophomores. So basically 1 to 2 years in college football. They played a lot, over 4,000 snaps, right? Mainly on the defensive side of the ball with some offensive guys. But look at that. Number 8, because they're bringing back all those dudes. You brought Stutzman and you got Billy Bowman to come back, which is huge because that gives you that veteran presence out there. You've got Peyton Bowen, who we know is going to be a stud. Woody Washington makes his return as well. And you got Robert Spears Jennings, and you go down the list of all the corners, Gentry, Williams, McCarthy. The list goes on, and then the entire linebacker room is back. Defensive line, we lost some of the dudes. You know, you lost Cole, Jordan Kelly. But then you're bringing in, you got Dejon Terry, who decided to come back, which is awesome. You're bringing in Stone and Jay Jackson. So defensive line-wise, I think we'll be fine. Ethan Downs came back. That was why I was looking at this like, man, there's a good chance Oklahoma's going to have the best defense in the SEC. Because you got Brent Venables and the defensive players coming back. Also, one big thing to remember, y'all know I'm big on when it comes to this, right? Is what is the transition? What is the growth that we're seeing on this defense? Oklahoma has seen some major growth going from last year to this year. And the bigger one, shout out to my guy Stats by Popo. He always provides me the numbers that I like to look at because y'all know I'm a numbers person. I like to bring what, you know, the efficiency numbers. I like to bring facts and numbers behind it, right? So when you looked at their last year, we came from 2022, SP Plus, we were 55th, ESPN's defensive efficiency 65, Sports Reference DSRS, not going to explain it to you, but it's another efficiency rating at 52, DFEI 46. That's what we were in 2022. Last season, SP Plus moved from 55 to 38. ESPN's went from 65 to 11. Sports Reference went from 52 to 37. And DFEI went from 46 to 13. And you know what that means, right? We brought back all this production, all these guys in the system for a second season going into the third. 2 off seasons and now that third off season. Those numbers are going to jump again. This is going to be a top 10 defense in college football. Even playing in the SEC, they will be a top 10 defense in college football. Barring injury. But I don't even think injury is going to be that much of a problem. Because everybody's been in the system long enough to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So when I saw those numbers come to me by my boy Popo back in January, I was like, oh, we are 100% moving to an era of Brent Venables' defense. And now Seth Luttrell's got to take this offense that's returning very little production, which technically is only the quarterback, and he's got to make it happen. Now, this is what's funny about it. When I looked at this numbers, pull it back up, the teams on here, it appears to me anybody under number 8, so the bottom half, are all replacing their quarterbacks. Right. Tennessee's got now a sophomore quarterback starting in Nico. And, you know, Kentucky's quarterback's gone. You got Oklahoma who's starting Jackson Arnold, who now is a sophomore. Everybody from 9 down are replacing their quarterbacks, which is why they should be, why they're rated where they are. Oklahoma's at the bottom of the barrel in college football because really all they bring back is Salchuk. Tyree Walker's gone too. You got Salchuk and you got some of the wide receiver room from Nick Anderson, Jake Gibson, Jalil Farouk. That's really it. That like big production. I mean, Brennan Thompson got us some touchdowns because he went deep and all of that. But you're losing Drake Stoops, who was basically the top receiver in the Big 12, right? And lost Austin Stogner at the tight end spot. But you're still bringing back a lot of these safety net players that Jackson Arnold knows well. So when I look at this is the reason why I argued heavily on that 7.5, that it's an over. It was 6.5 initially, now 7.5, so it's moving up because people are taking it because it's money there. Oklahoma's at least a 9-win team this coming season. At least. They got 9 wins on that schedule, right? All the home games, I say they'll win all of them, especially after Nick Saban retired. I'm going to give all 9 home games to Oklahoma. And then you've got some road games that could be questionable in a challenge. But, I see a minimum 9-3. That's it. Hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. How y'all feeling? Can Oklahoma overcome the worst production in college football and become great with the top defense in the SEC? Can they do it? If you made it this far, you like this content, please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We'd love for you to join this family of college football fans. We're going to be expanding. I promise y'all, it's coming. We've been planning. We've been putting stuff together. We're going to be talking about a lot of college football going into the offseason because ain't nothing else to talk about. Members, thank y'all for being members. If you want to subscribe and support the channel, feel free. The link is in the description below. I've got some additional content coming to you all over this month because it's that period. And so I'm just going to make up some stuff for y'all to hang out to. So anyway, YouTube says check out one of these videos. I highly recommend it. Created for you. And yeah, we will talk more soon. Peace.